So, guys, about a month ago, we covered this, or some point last month, we covered this. The Suck It Up video of a reform in Kent, their Kent Council, where they're arguing over the budget. So let's take another look at this quickly, because it's quite funny. It's quite funny, and it's relevant. Because Reform are claiming that with their new DOGE-style department and all this stuff, they're going to save so much money. They're going to save so much money. And this is the real test of their economic policy, apparently, is these councils they got control of just now. So surely, with this amazing, new money-saving mindset, they're going to be able to bring down costs easily, right? They're just going to be able to shave off all this waste that exists, There's just so much wasted bureaucracy. There's just so much money being wasted for nothing. People just make jobs to give people jobs for the sake of it, as we all know. So they can just walk in and save a bunch of money by just, being common sense about it. Guys, just common sense it. So let's take a look at this video. How's that going?
Yeah. Paul, yeah. I'm going to mute you in a minute. You're just going to have to fucking suck it up, okay? It's then my job as leader to appoint a cabinet, which I've done. And the way the Constitution works, it is the leader and the cabinet who make the big decisions. Now, because I'm not a dictator or an autocrat, I like feedback. I like to discuss. I like to hear what everybody thinks. However, when it comes to making the really big decisions, and I'm afraid LGR is one of those really big decisions, sometimes I will make a decision that might not be liked by everybody in the group. But I'm afraid you're just going to have to fucking suck it up, okay? Because
I love feedback. But you just have to fucking suck it up. So great scenes in the Reform Kent Council here.
I am the democratically elected leader. And on LGR, I've made a decision and it's Brian's responsibility, and it's a massive responsibility sitting on his shoulders right now, to try and come up with these savings.
She's telling the councillors they'll be fucked if they don't balance Kent's budget. Because Kent is like Reform's flagship council. This is the council they're supposed to make really succeed. So if they don't manage to cut a bunch of money, make it look really good, make the books look good, then they look really dumb. They look really dumb.
To make the books balance. If we can avoid putting up council tax by the full 5%, that is going to be the best thing that we can do to show that Reform can actually run something as big as Kent County Council. Right. Because let's not forget, we are the shop window in KCC. Mm-hmm. People are looking at us, they're judging us every single day, every single minute of every single day. Nigel knows that. He is super aware that we are the flagship council.
Proposal is that's going forward, then quite frankly, the question is that the right leader and the right cabinet? Because we, as backbenchers, need to understand what we're getting behind. I'm not asking...
There physically isn't time at this stage. So what we've done...
I'm not asking you to run through everything. I'm just asking you...
Well, you are. That's exactly what you're asking me to do.
No. I don't know whether or not you're intentionally sort of picking things up. Or the problem is, it's easier when it's face-to-face. Right,
of course it's easier when it's face-to-face.
Right.
I'm going to be on bloody holiday this week, Paul.
Okay,
I don't want to be having this meeting.
Right. What the proposal is that you're putting forward, that's all I'm asking for.
And my reply to that is...
we'll be briefed as it goes. Yeah.
Paul, yeah. I'm going to mute you in a minute. Let me reply. We're running out of time.
It's all right, Brian. You keep laughing your head off, mate.
In the committee meeting... Paul, I'm going to mute you so I can just speak.
Let's face it, the situation at the moment regards our group is not great. I've worked my arse off in my own portfolio and I'm still getting a rod up my backside all the time. And, and as what Bob has already stated, that there is a lot of backbiting going on and that tends to be coming from the top down.
So they also they released a statement after this as well to their leaders. So let's have a look at this quickly. So the Karen, the main woman in that, wrote this statement. I wanted to write to you regarding the Guardian article of 18th of October regarding a private meeting of the KCC, Kent County Council, Reform Group. I'm sure that you all, as leaders, have experienced political group discussions that, given their private nature, must be robust and frank. That is especially true for a new political group that has a responsibility for running the largest county council in the country, with all the challenges and issues that entails. To be clear, this has been overlooked in the media coverage. The leaked footage The Guardian was reporting was not a constituted KCC meeting, nor was it supported by KCC officers. It was a private reform group meeting. Oh, so much better. And everyone in that meeting had the right to expect their views expressed would remain private to the reform group. As such, I consider this first and foremost to be an internal group matter, right? But I'm aware that the leaked footage has caused concern among some Kent leaders about KCC's intention or approach to LGR. I can only reassure you that nothing has changed. That's local government reorganisation. Basically, they're redrawing a bunch of like councils and stuff to consolidate funding and make things easier for people. It's happening across the country right now. Yeah. I can only reassure you that nothing has changed. The statements I made at that meeting, while robust, align with my publicly declared position. I've made it clear publicly through the media and in KCC Council Chamber and at our Kent leaders meetings that I do not believe that LGR is needed in Kent. I do not believe it is the answer to the major challenges our country faces. It is costly, takes up an inordinate amount of officer and member time across all our councils, and is nowhere near the priority list that Kent residents want their political leaders to be focused on. Whilst Labour ministers continue to press ahead with this policy, I am determined that KCC should be part of the process. I do feel there is a shocking level of ignorance from many Kent leaders about the scale of the costs that are likely to incur to the taxpayer from disaggregation of county level of services into smaller unitary councils. Not only in regards to the transition costs to new councils, but in the permanent higher costs of delivering services at a smaller scale. This is what I was referring to in the private group meeting that reported in the Guardian article. This is what I have conveyed to you directly in person many times. My administration is determined to submit a business case to government that offers an LGR option that not only mitigates disaggregation risk, but also potentially offers significant financial benefits to taxpayers. It is most certainly intended to be a spoke in the wheel to a process driven by groupthink mentality that higher costs to taxpayers from LGR is acceptable. But these are political points. I hope that Kent leaders reflect and note on the fact that without KCC support to the LGR process in Kent and Medway, it would simply not proceeding. This bitch can't even type. It would simply not proceeding in the relatively smooth way it has. Nice one. KCC has acted as the procurement lead for the strategic partner. It is the KCC strategic partnership that has coordinated all the additional work and meetings necessary to support Kent leaders and Kent chief executives' role in the LGR process. This team has had to be supplemented by officers from the KCC policy and strategy team, given the additional workload and the expense of their day-to-day responsibilities and at no cost to our partners. We've done this because we accept that the strategic authority in Kent, we have organizational responsibility, even if my political administration disagrees with the premise of the process. I hope this letter has provided clarity in the matter. Yours sincerely, Lyndon Kemkaren. Wow. So it's total shit show, basically. So, there's some updates to Kent County Council specifically, and broader to the money-saving measures. So there was that letter. We've then got a little street interview around Kent. See what people think.
Of reform councils in Kent.
Yes.
What's your verdict?
It's not a good state of play for all of us.
Aghast.
They're a complete shower. And I think, unfortunately, the quality of services that we're all receiving has dropped drastically. So I don't have an awful lot of faith for how this is going to pan out, and I don't think a lot of people do.
They ran on ticket saying they wouldn't raise council taxes.
They already have.
Do you really want these kind of people in positions of power?
Their fiscal policy is lacking nationally and locally. So, yeah, no faith in that whatsoever.
So, not going great, it sounds like. Not going great, it sounds like. And then we've got another little story from, I believe it's a little village in Kent, I think, coming from a Facebook local group. Harwich Parish Council saying, Christmas lights on the A20. Kent County Council has now issued the permit for the Parish Council's Christmas lights to be installed along the A20 in the coming weeks. However, the approval comes with a condition that any flags currently on the streetlight columns must be removed before the lights can go up, as they pose a safety risk. This condition from Kent County Council may result in the installation of the Christmas lights being unable to proceed as planned for 2025. Despite this, the Parish Council will still be liable for the higher cost, as well as the arrangements were in place before the permit was issued. We feel it is important to make residents aware of the current position and financial implications placed upon the Parish Council by the condition of the permit. Having taken the time to arrange these for the communities, it will be disappointing they cannot be installed in the coming weeks, but unfortunately this situation is beyond the Parish Council's control. So because because all these reform councils don't want the flags taken down. They've delayed on taking flags down, and they've tried to avoid it and tried to tell people not to and all this shit. There are now flags everywhere. And now the fire guidance, the safety guidance saying, no, you can't have the flags there and the Christmas lights. That's a fire risk, obviously. Now they're having to choose, and they don't have the money or the time to dedicate to send out in this tiny parish council to send people out in the next week or a couple of weeks to take down all these flags before the Christmas lights can go up. So nice one, you fucking idiots. So nice one. It's not like anyone could have foreseen this. No one was saying, hey, putting up random flags around on lampposts and shit is like a safety risk. Could cause problems. Could cause problems. Probably shouldn't do that. It's probably a stupid idea. You should probably have flags on like flagpoles, you know? Especially given like they sort of look half-mast as well on a lamppost. It's like kind of it's like disrespectful in a weird way. I don't know if that's just me, as I was just I don't know, brought up with like retarded flag code shit being said constantly. But it's just kind of like what the fuck are you doing? Like what the fuck are you doing, really? It's just like totally ridiculous and pointless. And now they're ruining Christmas, which usually it would be like, oh, they're trying to take away Christmas. They're trying to take away Christmas. And now it's, wow. But we've got some just supplementary stories here for the reform saving situation. This is from a little bit earlier in the year. It's 3 months ago. So reform were looking to cut diversity roles in councils. But there basically weren't any. Councils run by Reform UK have an average of fewer than 0.5 diversity and equality roles each, it has emerged, calling into question the party's stated aim to have significant sums of money, to save significant sums of money, by cutting such jobs. According to Freedom of Information requests, across the 10 Reform-run English councils, there was a combined 4.56 full-time equivalent FTE jobs connected to equality and diversity, not including roles required by law, such as those for inclusion and education, including for pupils with disabilities. Even using an assumed average full-time salary of £50,000, cutting all the roles would save Reform-run councils slightly less than 0.003% of their combined budget. Reform won more than 670 seats in May's local elections across England, taking control of 10 councils. Celebrating his party's success at the rally the next day, Nigel Farage said staff at these councils, working on diversity, had better really be seeking alternative careers very, very quickly. All five of them. All five of them. Before the elections, Farage and other senior reform figures repeatedly talked up the amount that could be saved by cutting diversity and inclusion roles, modelling their ambitions on efforts to slash US government diversity initiatives by Elon Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. One much repeated figure was that cutting such schemes in central government could save £7 billion a year. Official statistics show that the actual amount spent in 2022 to 23, the last year for which figures are available, was £27 million. Reform UK said the £7 billion figure came from sums compiled in 2022 by a right-wing think tank, Conservative Way Forward. However, this also covered government budgets for any charities and quangos that carried out what the report saw as woke activities. Asked by the BBC shortly after the local government and local elections how much money reform could save from councils cutting diversity efforts, the party's then chair, Zia Yusuf, was slightly vague. He hinted that some authorities had tried to hide equalities roles by giving them to other people who basically have that same job but under a different title. Last month, Yusuf resigned as chair after a row about one of the party's MPs calling for a ban on burqas. 2 days later, he returned to reform as head of its own self-styled DOGE team, intent on finding council savings. So you get the point here. It's a bunch of fucking bullshit. Oh wait, in June, he said Kent County Council, also now run by Reform, had spent nearly £90 million a year on a contract for recruitment services, saying this is 22% of their annual payroll. However, this was not a contract, but a framework for a national public sector recruitment system operated by Kent, with critics suggesting this showed Zia Yusuf did not understand procurement systems. Potential savings within councils are limited by the fact that for most county-level authorities, most of their budget goes on duties mandated by law, including adult social care and children's services. So yeah, he basically has none of them have any fucking clue, they have no fucking idea, and they can't save any money. But they insist they can, nothing happens, and they look fucking stupid. And then you just get a bunch of bullshit excuses like, oh, the government's stopping them from cutting it. Stopping them from cutting what? George Finch is writing to Bridget Phillipson, asking for permission to make 8-year-olds walk 5 miles, right? You know, that's what is happening right now. He's saying, no, 8-year-olds should be forced to walk 5 miles in the winter to school. That's where the savings are coming from in these reform councils, is how do we fuck over like kids, disabled adults? And that's it. It's not even like something like, you know, asylum hotel funding or some shit like that. Or like, you know, drag queen story hour events or, you know, I don't know what it would be, but it's nothing like that. It's like, let's fuck over children and disabled adults. Okay. Not a hugely popular strategy, I don't think, generally, to be honest. Most people want to look after children, so possibly not the best strategy there. And then we've also got this story coming out of Kent. Reform UK likely to raise council tax in Kent despite promises to cut costs. So this is just under a month ago, or just over a month ago. I'm not sure. Reform UK Council, where the party sought to pilot drastic cost-cutting plans, is going to have to raise council tax, a cabinet member has admitted. Services at Kent were already down to the bare bones, said Reform's cabinet minister for adult social care, Diane Morton. It makes Kent the latest local authority controlled by Nigel Farage's party to signal its intention to raise council tax. We've got more demand than ever before, and it's growing, Morton told the Financial Times. We just want more money. Morton said she believed the local authority would raise council tax by 5%, the maximum permitted, as councils tried to honour their legal duty to make sure spending adds up before budgets are set for next year. Dude, it's just like beyond a fucking joke. It's just beyond a joke. And Nigel Farage is out there saying he wants lower taxes and shit today. It's just fucking hilarious, man. It's beyond the joke. They can't do anything. And then they want to get rid of the entire tax base as well. They want an aging population where we deport all immigrants and have a lower tax base as well. Just like totally the most bizarre, stupid, made up financial theory ever, economic theory. And retards fall for it. Totally economically illiterate. Even more economically illiterate than me, which is a struggle. Retards that vote for reform will go for it because they're just fucking idiots. Because they're all just fucking idiots. And they can't engage like second order thought. But, oh, what happens to like an aging population with an increasing tax burden when it drastically reduces and limits its tax base? What happens there? I wonder what happens. Don't have to think about that really. Don't have to think about that really. Because if we just get rid of the immigrants, it'll all be fine. It's just brown people fucking it all up. That's the real problem. That's the real problem. Morton said she believed the local... Okay, let's send that part. Reform's leader of West Northamptonshire Council said last month that council tax was highly likely to go up next year. The Reform leader of Durham County Council also said that without additional funding from central government, it will have to make stark choices between council tax increases and cuts to vital local services. Staffordshire County Council's Reform leader Ian Cooper said last month he hoped to reduce a 5% council tax rise, but added, whether we can deliver that based on inflation, we'll just have to wait and see. Morton's comments are particularly pertinent because in Kent, Reform had been seeking to pilot an Elon Musk-style Department of Government Efficiency DOGE unit to examine all council spendings in areas it controls and cut costs. Instead, a UK DOGE team, led by Reform's head of policy, Zia Youssef, appears to have run into difficulty in assessing sensitive council data at Kent and elsewhere. Polly Billington, the Labour MP for East Thanet in Kent, said Reform's leader in Kent said that Reform councils were the biggest advert for what Nigel Farage's government could look like. Daisy Cooper, the deputy leader of the Liberal Democrats, said the admission of a looming council tax rise in Kent was a spectacular failure for which Youssef must personally apologise. Reform UK says councillors on Kent County Council have been working to clean up the mess left by the Conservatives, reducing the authority's debt by $66 million in the first 5 months in office. The party said most of the savings came from a cost-cutting efficiency team made up of several cabinet members. A spokesperson added that the council had also introduced a no more borrowing policy aimed at reducing debt by a further $33 million by March 2026, and scrapped its net zero renewable energy program, which they said would save $32 million over 4 years. So yeah, most of the savings, any savings they are finding in these councils, is basically by gutting any renewable energy shit. So all the solar panels programs and shit like that, They just got all those. They just like totally abandoned that, and that's how they save a bit of money, and then they're stuck because they can't actually do all this bureaucratic shaving that they thought they could. They basically just dump that, and then it's like, well, we're stuck now. Can't reduce anymore. Time to increase council tax, and that's it. Kent County Council is one of the largest local authorities in England by population, and has a £2.5 billion annual budget. Half of spending goes to social care and children with special education needs, SEN. It has already announced it's facing a shortfall of £50 million for next financial year. Farage has also suggested Kent could make savings by cutting the amount it spends on school transport. So yeah, again, this is their current thing, is basically make kids walk really far to school. Wow, awesome. However, independent experts such as the Institute for Government have said that reform-run local councils face the same brutal arithmetic as those its political opponents control. While the party has suggested it could look at spending in areas it regards as wasteful, such as diversity and equality programs, the IFG said this year that the numbers did not stack up, and previous councils that had been tempted to make short-term spending cuts had only stored problems for the future. For example, the think tank said diverting funding for Kent's Family Hub, a network aimed at assisting children and young people, including those with SEN, would be a false economy in terms of the long-term savings it produces, and would also face legal challenges. So yeah, just a total shit show on all ends. Not really that much money to be saved. And then yeah, there's this as well. This is just sort of like a offhanded thing. This is about a week ago, just over a week ago. Criticism as council set to spend £75,000 on flags, so like £500 a piece across different councils, just sticking up a bunch of flags for a bunch of money for no fucking reason. So brilliant stuff, Reform. Really great stuff, Reform. But guys, that is the British politics segment that I stuck in there. Let's do it. Let's do a Cheeto.